And then the other thing we can do is set the time limiter so that we can say, all right, you know what, I don't want to allow traffic, internet access during these time periods, as an example. Okay, it's going to be blocked. So I turn around and say, all right, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I have all days of the week listed. I do not want to allow internet connectivity from, let's say, give it a time of, let's say 8 o'clock at night, or let's make it 9 o'clock at night, and just go ahead and block those off until about, let's say, 7 in the morning. So my child has no need to be on the internet from those time frames, so I am blocking internet access. That way I can pretty much rest assured that if they were to get up in the middle of the night or do something when I happen to not be there, they're not going to be able to access the internet and do something that could be potentially inappropriate. Now I'm going to go ahead and show in another video in our series, basically when we talk about securing the home PC, we can do some of these things as far as limiting internet access and so forth with a wireless router or things of that nature. So you don't necessarily have to have an application like a Bitdefender or Norton or so forth to do those types of things. There are other ways to accomplish those tasks, but that's one way that everything's built into one suite. So that may fit the bill for you and give you a one-stop shop to block and filter a lot of things in one location. So in a lot of cases, that really is convenient for a parent. Now AOL, which is obviously an extremely popular web service or internet provider, depending on how you want to look at it, they offer a lot of the same controls we just went over. So with AOL, I would basically go into their site and choose Parental Controls. I'm just going to bring up a couple keywords or a couple screenshots real quick to walk you through the process. I would go to Parental Controls within AOL keywords, and it would bring up a parental control site which I can go in and configure a number of things. Like you can go into the Parental Controls section and create your child's screen name if you haven't already, if they don't have one already. Once it's created, you can go in and then set the number of or the level of internet access that they have. So as an example, I have a couple screen names created. I can say this one is the master account and these other two are not. So I can control what can and can't be done, and as long as it's not the master account, like say Palestra user 3 is my child's account, they don't have access to the parental controls. They can't change anything. So with that, I can go in and basically set basically no access up to full access for web browsing, instant messaging, email, and chat are the main ones. So I can kind of configure that any point along the spectrum and kind of filter out from no access to full access. You can go in and say, I want to be able to say when, at what time, and what day they can access the internet. Again, I can block all access. I can allow access from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Choose any of these predefined sections, or I can also say allow custom access. And just like we showed in the previous example, I can basically go in and say starting from this point in time, ending at this point in time, allow access. So I could go right through the same scenario and say I don't want to allow access to the internet from 9 p.m. until say 7 a.m. That way they're not getting up in the middle of the night doing whatever. Or if I happen to be working and I don't get home until, let's say, 5 o'clock, my children get home at 3 o'clock, I can block internet access from 3 to 5. That way they get home a couple hours before I do. They don't jump on the internet and do something that's potentially inappropriate. And then the other thing that's nice with the AOL is they have the ability to provide a report to the master account for the sub-account's activity. So you can have an email account sent to you on a regular basis saying, okay, the users or the sub-accounts on this under your master account rather accessed X number of websites, they attempted to visit X number of websites, they sent so many emails, they had a chat session, they did basically a recap of everything they did while they were online and how long they were online. So it allows you as the parent to get a detailed snapshot. You may not even necessarily be home. You can have this emailed to you while you're at work or traveling or what have you. So you get a picture of what's taking place while you're not around, or even if you're in the next room. Who knows? But it's a good thing to have in place. If you haven't visited there already, I would recommend if you do in fact have an AOL account, take a moment or two, investigate what parental controls are available to you, and it certainly may fit the bill completely for the things you want to do. Okay, now to round out our discussion of these parental controls, let's take a look at one of the older ones that's been around for quite a while, and that is CyberSitter, which can be downloaded from www.cybersitter.com. Okay, so I've installed CyberSitter on my system. CyberSitter and NetNanny are probably two of the original ones that were out there as far as parental controls. So they've been around for quite a while, certainly worth taking a look at. They pretty much do the same things that we've talked about with the other programs, but I just want to kind of give you another application to take a look at. So with CyberSitter, I downloaded the demonstration or the trial version from their website. It gives me 10 days to play with the product. I downloaded it, installed it, and you see here we have a little icon down in our system tray, which can also be turned off if you don't want to have that apparent. So general options, I can say I'm either active, inactive, or I can turn off internet access. You can do some filtering options where you use the CyberSitter search engine. You can filter email, you can block all instant messages, things of that nature. You can block file sharing. You can block FTP sites and news groups. And again, these are all over certain ports. If you recall, or if you have a general idea of how ports work and how different traffic takes place over the internet, we're simply turning off or blocking access to certain ports. Alright, same with security. We can say, I want to set this thing up and I don't want anyone to be able to change my settings unless they know the username and password. So allowable times, very much like we looked at with our other systems, we can say, again, I want to allow access or not allow access at certain times based on whatever my desire is. Okay, so back to my previous example, let me just go ahead and get rid of all these times. I want to allow access only from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Oops. So I would just highlight those times, and now that's the only time internet access would be available if this is running on that machine. Filter files, I can turn around and say I want to basically turn on filtering for certain categories. Perhaps I don't want to have access to whatever. And again, we have a number of options here, and there are some defaults. Same with user files. I can turn around and say I want to make sure I block sites that have these specific phrases or words in them. I can enter them into this file here. Same with log files, where I want to record any violations that in fact occur. And I can also have daily email reports. So I can say send a daily email report of what's taking place, have it sent to this location, to this address, so on and so forth. So I can kind of get a report if I'm away from my my PC of what's happening while I'm not there. Same thing with some tools. I can do a system snooper and basically search my computer for certain types of files, whether it be a cookie or a web page, perhaps some objectionable material. So it gives you a kind of a rudimentary scan of your system and a good idea of what's taking place, again, maybe without your knowledge. So CyberSitter is a good application to look at, a good starting point again. Perhaps compare and contrast a few different packages, a few different software applications, and see which one fits your needs. One may be better than the other, as far as, you know, from your perspective. So I'm not recommending one over the other. Take a look and make your own decision. Okay, let's go ahead and briefly recap what we talked about throughout this video, and that is protecting your family and some of the tools that are available to do so. Talked about the forensics tools that are available to parents, the tools that are geared towards the home user. Talked about deleted files and what actually happens when you delete a file and how those files can be recovered, some of the utilities are available. Chat logs and keyloggers and some of the monitoring tools that are available, again talking about a forensics perspective. We also talked about the parental controls that are available, whether it be from a commercial suite such as Norton or McAfee or Bitdefender. Of course, there are others out there as well. And some of the online providers such as AOL and the parental controls that they provide, along with NetNanny and CyberSitter, basically allowing you to control when the internet is accessed, perhaps what types of sites can be visited, what types of applications can be run, things along those lines. Basically, tools to put into your tool belt to protect your family while online.